Welcome everybody to Roman Harvest. My name's Chris Corlett and I'm gonna be your chef tonight. We're gonna be cooking up all these great items that is the fun part to harvesting. So we're gonna make a great meal tonight. Tonight we have access elk, a really unique item, a sweeter venison meat. So we're gonna do some sweeter preparations and a sweeter meal with it. And then we have this wonderful crane here. You can see this really nice dark meat. And we're gonna try to maximize this in a stir fry, which will be delicious. We're gonna do a couple different marinades because with kind of outdoor meats, it's always fun to infuse the most flavors with marinades. Marinades are inexpensive and they add a lot of bang to your buck. And I think on this channel, we like bang to the buck. So we have some great vegetables we're gonna use for the stir fry that we're gonna make with the crane, as well with the venison. So we're gonna do that. We're also gonna make a Korean specialty with the Korean marinade here, and kimbap it's called, and it's kind of like sushi, but it's all cooked. And we're gonna use some of that cooked venison meat to put in the center of that sushi roll. And you'll see it's much more savory. It has eggs, it has vegetables. It will be delicious. So we're gonna get started. Are you ready, Ellie?
I'm ready, Chris.
Good. Well, you need that enthusiasm in the kitchen because for me, cooking's a lot of fun. It's a way I share my time with the people I care about most. And I think when you're out roaming or harvesting, it's always with the people that you care about the most. It's your comrades, it's your friends, it's your family. That's what makes a good hunt and makes the enjoying the food the best part. So we're gonna start with the rice because that takes the longest. And so I think if you're gonna cook efficiently and effectively, and if you work a regular job and those kind of things, it's good to cook things in order. So we don't like to waste time around here, do we?
Yep, efficiency.
Efficiency, yep. So we got a couple different varieties of rice today. We have this Japanese rice that we're gonna use for the sushi. It has a little more stickiness, which helps with the glucose for the nori here. And then this is gonna be more of the rice we're gonna enjoy with the stir fry. And this is jasmine rice. And it has a good flavor, it's fragrant, and it has a nice long grain, which is really nice to enjoy with the stir fry. So first thing you gotta do with your rice is you gotta wash your rice. So we're gonna wash our rice. All right, we're going to start here with the crane game. And we're gonna start with taking off this silver skin. It's a little tough. It's not going to cook well when you're cooking it. It changes the dynamic of the texture, and just when heat hits it, it kind of retracts and can make it really tough. So we're gonna take that off. And you know, these all have a purpose too. The duck pieces at the end, you can make duck stocks, you can make sauces out of them. So don't just dispose of like the really wonderful harvest. You know, I'm a firm believer of using everything. You could grind this too. And you'd still want to take out the silver skin, but you want to grind it. You can make sausages, all sorts of things. So jerkies. So we're gonna take off the skin though. I kind of fillet it from the backside and just kind of let the skin glide. Yeah, just like a fish. Let the skin kind of be your guide. And you know, one thing when you have a sharp knife though, you can't do too much pressure. You'll go through that skin even. But you know, and this is not just a super easy technique to accomplish. And it takes time, so don't get frustrated if you have some meat on the silver skin. Don't get frustrated if you don't get it all off in one move. You know, it takes practice, and that's a fun part about it, right? So if you enjoy being in the kitchen, and then you just take off these little pieces there, like I said, you can throw that in some other stuff, make some stocks. You know, I'm pretty picky about how good it looks, so we're even gonna take that little guy off. But I mean, throw that in the meat case, you know what I mean? That's ready to go, that's worthy to go. So we're gonna do our last one here, but we'll keep that there. Get this little guy out of the way. And I always like to show the yield. I think that's important because you can say, okay, well, if I'm gonna cut up 10 breasts or I'm gonna fabricate this shoulder, and you got more than one, you can kind of have an idea of how much you're gonna be left over with, and then you can purpose that better. So again, we're gonna kind of take off the side stuff because this is tough stuff here. Take that off. And I think another important part, like what we're doing with the crane tonight, we're gonna be slicing this thin. So we're gonna be going through the breast here. If you were gonna keep the breast, the shape matters more. So if you think ahead a couple steps, you're like, well, I'm gonna slice it. Don't put so much pressure on yourself for how beautiful the breast has to look after you fabricate it. I think that's important too. You don't need unnecessary frustrations. And so I'm gonna just pull back, and you can see how that pulls back, it's taut, and we're gonna just let the blade of the knife run right through that, right? And we're just gonna cut it nice and thin, and it's gonna cook up really easily. It's gonna absorb the marinade nicely. So these leaner meats, right? So this is a duck or a crane. It's a poultry animal. And then venison, you know, they're very lean animals. Typically with leaner meats and leaner animals, you can go lower marinade times, which is really, really great when you are kind of time crunched or you got a family. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that's why I try to do these things in order where we get the rice done first, because that's going to take a little time. And then we're going to marinate the meats next because that takes a little time, but it all will finish together ideally. And then we'll have a really nice dinner we all can share with one another. So
Can't wait.
So
you're not a hunter, right?
So I haven't hunted personally. However, I've been very fortunate to experience a lot of hunting. I get to help in a hunting outfitter every deer season, which is a great experience, and I've learned so much. I have a lot of friends that hunt and are very avid hunters, and I love learning, and I love what the hunt offers. I love what the experience of that is. I love meeting new people. I love learning about new people and what they're passionate about, and it's just another opportunity to do that, you know, and do what you love and do it for the people you love. You know, it's the best thing you can do. So, right, Ruby? We're flying through this beautiful crane. So we're gonna put this in a dish, and you can use anything. One thing I really like about preparing game meals is that they're typically, it's not something someone bought from a supermarket. It came with a story. It came from a friend. It came from a brother or a father or an uncle, and there's a story, and someone had to go out there and you know, risk it and strategize and do all the things that make hunting challenging, but what you love. And so, you know, I think the best meals have the memories, and when you get it and you don't even have to cook it, already has a great memory, that's the best stuff to cook with. So we're gonna fly over now to the venison. Let me wash up and we'll get this in marinade. It's better to get marinated right away so the meat doesn't start oxidizing and all that stuff you don't want to happen. So let me wash up and then we'll do that next. So we're gonna pour some teriyaki on the crane and get this completely submerged there. You just wanna make sure all this wonderful crane gets all the wonderful marinade. Smells great.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Don't want to have any piece not exposed to some marinade. Take your time, make sure all your meat is well marinated. That's important. All right, that's looking pretty good. Venison time. Venison time. We're gonna slice the venison next, similar to how we did the crane, but we're gonna do two different applications for the venison. So one of the applications we're gonna do is we're gonna do like skewers. So we're gonna use a certain part of the meat for the skewer, and then the other meat we're gonna do a similar kind of marinade and use that for stir fry. So for these we can use the sirloin, the leg, any of these would work well for the stir fry. Ideally I want to use kind of the best part of the deer for the skewers, just because it's more of the quality of the texture, and we're going to do a grilling preparation or a quick kind of sear preparation with it. So that matters a little more. So we're going to use the loin here to make the skewers, because this is the best part. There's a little silver skin on this side. We're going to quickly remove. And that comes off, and we'll set that to the side. Check the bottom. Pretty clean. Whoever cut it before me did a really nice job. I'm gonna take all that off. Done. Little more on this side. We're gonna just remove real quickly. All right. Got a little right there we're gonna take off. All right, yeah, that looks pretty awesome. So, all right, now we're gonna cut this so we can kind of make some skewers out of it. We're gonna slice this for our skewers. So we want some size to it. We want it thin enough so the marinade again can permeate. And I don't know if it looks any better than that, guys. Yeah, so key is keeping your fingers back, but sharp tools, like I said, give you an advantage as well. So take off the bottom of this. And then we'll do this one. And a part of like setting up your cuts is being able to put the meat in a position and where you can cut it well. So, you know, make sure you have like really nice shapes of meat like this. It does make it easier to fabricate it at the end of the day. I mean, look how beautiful this deer is. Look at that. All right, so we're gonna get this marinated. We're gonna put this in there. And this one, we're gonna do the Korean barbecue marinade. Yeah, and it's gonna have a quick sear, high heat. It's gonna be delicious. I try to use products too today that are easy to find in your local grocery stores. You know, you can make all your marinades. There's obvious opportunity in that, but I understand time is a commodity too. And sometimes it's easier to focus more on the cooking part or the technique part than it is everything at once. So some of these brands I really like. They've been successful for me in the past. This is an authentic Korean brand. And so it gives it a great flavor. So again, we're just gonna add a little of the marinade here, but make sure you got enough to cover it. All right, let's make sure we get it all. That's looking great. I mean, we got that ready. I'm gonna wash up and we're gonna get the last one ready for stir fry, and then we're gonna cut some vegetables. All right, we're going to now take down the top leg portion of the access steer. And this is gonna be a part of the stir fry. and a part of our Korean sushi rolls called kimbops. But I got a fun name I got for those. We're gonna call them buck bops. And we're gonna use that meat for both of those. So the top part of the leg's a good part to use. And we're gonna clean the little silver skin like we have been off all of our proteins. Again, it's technique, and if you're consistent with your technique, even if you get an animal that you haven't used before, you will have more success because you will have approached it in a consistent way. So, and typically go with your instincts. They're typically better than you think. So we're gonna take off all this. And like we were kind of talking about before, since this preparation, it's gonna be more of a stir fry, the end result of this fabrication isn't as important as maybe like the skewer we just did. So, got a little more on top, we're gonna take off. The fun doesn't stop. Then we got the bottom here, pretty clean. Just take this little guy out. I think we are pretty ready to roll. So we're gonna flip it over, cut into 2 nice even pieces. And again, we can see how the grain runs, and we're gonna cut against the grain. Chris, why do we cut against the grain? Well, when you cook the meat, it's gonna be more tender because how the grain runs. You're going against it, so it's gonna be more, the texture is gonna be softer, it's gonna be more chewable, a lot more enjoyable. So we're gonna just knock out the meat. I always have fun fabricating. You know, no animal's exactly the same, and you know, every fillet is a different size and kind of provides a different challenge and makes it fun. And when you're working with special products, especially that have a story like we talked about earlier, you can really appreciate it when you take your time with it. You can see how deep red that meat is, or just that much more time to talk about the story too, which I think is always the best part. All right, so there's the first one. And just because that takes up a fair amount of room on our board, we can put that in our bowl to marinate. This is called bulgogi marinade, and it's a really popular dish in Korea. One of the most traditional staple dishes. They use beef a lot, pork bulgogi. So I always thought, why not venison? And I have done this before. It is delicious. It's definitely a crowd pleaser. And it's a great way to have an excuse to have a little variety in your game preparation. All right, so for our next culinary project here, we're gonna start skewering the venison, the access steer that we marinated in the bulgogi marinade. And I always kind of start from the smaller side, and I use the board just to kind of, you're gonna thread the needle basically. And these are pretty small, so you don't need to go back and forth too much. So I'm gonna go up, 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 under, and then you can use the board and just kind of lift the end, and then we're just like that, and that's gonna look great. I'll just set one in
This is the crane?
Nope, this is the deer.
Oh.
The top sirloin.
This is the back, the loin, the rib, because we use the better part for this because this is gonna have a faster cooking preparation. So the quality of the cut matters more, the tenderness of the cut matters more, but the marinade also helps with the tenderness of the meat. So again, I'm gonna kind of use the board. Wanna bring it down, leave a little bit of the top exposed, make sure you kind of pull it down, because the flatter the skewer is, the more evenly this will cook when we cook it. If it's really kind of crumped together, you're gonna have that uneven cooking that you see in skewers often, where the middle is really undercooked and the outside is overcooked. So we are going to have some fun making skewers. I think that these are great activities to get the family or friends involved with, whether it's your kids, your friends, get them involved. The more people in the kitchen, the better time you can have.
That's
so
us.
game up. Let's go. Coach. Yep, so we'll let you guys knock it out. All right, next we're gonna prepare the sushi rice for the buck bop.
First off,
Got our rice cooker. We're gonna take our rice out of the rice cooker using a flat spoon or a rice paddle.
the jasmine rice.
This is the sushi rice.
What's the difference?
The shape, so sushi rice is typically more short and medium grain, or the jasmine rice is a long grain rice. Sushi rice is also polished typically because that is what helps kind of define its quality base, just like sake. And sushi rice is typically more sticky as well than Thai or jasmine rice that we're gonna use tonight. So first I'm cooling down the rice and I'm doing this sideways motion with the wooden paddle, or if you have a rice spatula or rice paddle. And this is, you do it like this because you're not breaking the rice kernels. You're not smushing the rice kernels. It's really important if you're gonna make like a good sushi product, or in this case, kimbap or buck bop, that your rice has good texture. Now we're gonna be rolling this one with the seaweed on the outside, but still, the rice is arguably the most important part of any sushi style rice fish item, even more important than the fish arguably. So we're gonna let this cool, but as it's cooling, we're gonna add our rice vinegar here. And the technique I always learned was that you pour the rice vinegar off the back of the spoon or your rice paddle. And what that does, it kind of evenly distributes the vinegar. Otherwise, you're kind of pouring it and creating a lake. And you don't want to oversaturate the rice with the vinegar. You want it more to enhance it and kind of, you're trying to sprinkle it on lightly, then dousing the rice. So observe as we give our little sprinkle, and as you see it comes off the spoon. Then after we do that, we're just gonna mix that vinegar in while it's still hot. And we don't wanna put too much vinegar where your rice becomes wet. It's just enough vinegar to add flavor, to kind of help make the rice more manageable. In the olden days, why they actually added vinegar was to help preserve things so you could enjoy this for longer periods of time. So that's actually how kind of sushi started. So we're gonna just finish kind of using our sideways spoon technique to make our sushi rice. And this also cools down the rice. So you could probably tell that there was steam coming off the rice before, and that's really subsided now because of our technique we're using. So This looks wonderful. As we said, we're gonna do 2 different types of rice. So we're gonna let this cool. We're gonna slam out the jasmine rice, knock that out next. We're gonna clean it like you saw earlier in the video. So you can either refer back to that, and we will continue moving, and we're gonna do vegetables, and then we're gonna start cooking some stuff. So what we're gonna do next here is, now that we have all our vegetables prepared, what we used to call in the culinary world as mise en place, you have all your ingredients in its place, it's what that kind of translates to, is now that we have all of our ingredients, now we can start the cooking process. So what we're gonna begin with is our appetizer, kimbap, or our bukbap. And in even Korean culture, it's kind of used as an appetizer. So I think we'll get that started. It's a fun thing to make. We're gonna use different techniques and kind of cross over different skills. And then we'll have an appetizer to enjoy while we're making the entrees.
Woo!
All right, we're gonna do a little cooking finally here. And we got Ellie to help with the cooking.
Yep.
Ellie has the Korean marinated venison, the axis venison here. And so what we're gonna do here, we're also gonna cook our spinach, and this is gonna help us build the bukbap. And we're gonna get our heat going first. You always wanna get your heat fired up first, let your pans warm up.
I'm gonna salt and pepper this.
Yep, so Ellie's gonna salt and pepper that, and that's probably good on the salt there.
I love salt though.
I know, but the marinade's gonna have some salt in it, so you just gotta be aware of the seasonings you have in your marinade. As your pans heat up, I think that looks solid. Nice job. So we're gonna let our pans heat up. And once those pans feel warm, then we're gonna add in our fat. So in this case, we're gonna use a vegetable oil because it's nice and neutral in flavor. So I'm gonna give Ellie a little bit here to work with. And you don't want too much in these. We're using like non-stick pans, so they're not gonna stick too much just naturally. When you put your fat in your pan, you wanna give it a little swirl around so it's on everything on the pan here. So Ellie, if you wanna just, put a little
Dip 'em
piece,
in?
I'll show you how to do it safely too here. Okay. So when you put them in, you wanna take the piece and you wanna drop it away from you. That way, if there is any oil splatter, it doesn't hit you, okay? That's great. Now, for the spinach here, we're gonna put some oil in the pan. We got some chopped garlic we're gonna add right in there. And spinach cooks down a lot, so you wanna add a lot of spinach, more than you think. But we're gonna cook the garlic just a touch, so it's not raw when it folds into all the spinach. Yep, add a couple more, please. Good job. And so as we see our garlic cooking and our marinated venison cooking,
It smells delicious.
it smells so good. We're gonna add the spinach now. And like I said, be generous with it.
Because it shrinks.
It shrinks.
I learned that.
Yep. And we're gonna make sure we have plenty here. All right, I think that looks great. So we're gonna let that cook now for a minute. You wanna find a pair of tongs for us, Ellie?
I got them right here.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna use them too. So spinach cooks really quick. So you really just need the heat of it. and you're pretty much done. So I'm gonna turn off the heat, and the residual heat of the pan is gonna wilt the spinach. And once it's wilted, it's pretty much fully cooked, so you don't need to do much. Can you see how quick that wilts?
Yeah.
And how much that cooked down?
Yep.
And so we got our beautiful spinach right there. Now for venison, let's see how this stuff's starting to look. And you can kind of tell how much it's cooked by the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You can start seeing it come up
yeah,
around it.
yep. And so we're gonna have Ellie start flipping a couple of
Got
them
it.
there. It's always good to keep your workplace clean, especially when you're cooking.
Shuffling.
There you go. There you go. Winning. Remember, practice makes perfect.
Right.
Yep. Keep flipping them. Keep flipping them. We're going to turn down your heat now a little bit, because your pan holds heat, especially nice pans. So controlling your temperature is really important when you're cooking lean meats or cooking things that cook quickly. So and you want to keep it spaced out like Ellie's doing right there. She's doing a great job keeping it spaced out, because if you keep it too close together, it steams, and then you don't get that nice color, the caramelization that we're all looking for from that marinade and from that meat, and the real flavor of that meat coming out. So
Smells so good. I keep saying that. It's delicious.
it smells really good. So flip that little guy one more time, I think, Ellie, if you don't mind. Yep, good job. And then we're gonna take this off. We're gonna turn off the heat. And that's really it. That's all you really need to cook that. We're gonna get this ready, take it over, and we're gonna roll the buck bop. So get ready, here it comes. All right, so we're gonna make our buck bop now, or the kimbap, a Korean-like sushi roll with all cooked ingredients. We're using this wonderful access deer that we've marinated and then pan-seared quickly on the stovetop. We have some scrambled eggs, we have some spinach, we have some carrots, and other things you can put in here is like zucchini or cucumbers. It's really fun. You can kind of put whatever you like in there, and it's gonna turn out pretty good. We're gonna first take one of our nori sheets, or seaweed here, and we're gonna go the shiny side down. And with our rice, it's important when you have your rice is get a little bowl of water. So I'll have one of my assistants give me a little bowl of water here, and have it be warm water, and it helps it so it doesn't stick to your fingers. So we're gonna,
Is this a big enough one?
that's perfect. We're gonna take some of our rice, we're gonna start putting it on the seaweed. Now I am not going to cover the entire seaweed paper with the rice. We're gonna cover it about 2/3, leaving kind of think of it kind of like an envelope. You have that top to close it up. So as you can see, as I'm doing this, I'm going all the way to the edge. I'm kind of picking at it again, and what that does is allows it so the rice kernel doesn't get smashed, and you maintain all that texture you worked so hard at making when you were cooking the rice and then adding the vinegar to it initially. So as you can tell, it gets sticky on your fingers, and that's where the hot water bowl comes in. And what that does is just knocks that right off your fingers. Your fingers stay slightly lubricated so you can keep going at it here. And so I go right to the edge. And then what I'm gonna do with some of this access deer is these are little bigger chunks than I need. So I'm gonna just cut them in little strips here. And you can see that beautiful doneness we have in there. And we're gonna put those right in the middle. Put another little piece because can't have enough access deer. So we're gonna add some of that. We're gonna add some spinach. And this was sauteed with garlic. And then we're gonna add some egg. And a lot of these ingredients a typical household has, you know, whether you have some leftover salad mix, you have some carrots from the kids' school lunches, eggs for the morning, you typically have these kind of things. Then we're gonna add a carrot stick, and I kind of try to cut them purposely to the size of the roll here. And then we're gonna roll this bad boy up. I'm not using a rolling mat tonight, but you can absolutely use one. And you're gonna use equal pressure and you're gonna pull it together here. You're gonna kind of seal it. And then I'm gonna take a little water and just seal the edge of this. And this is gonna close up the roll. And I'm just gonna roll it over like this. And this is what we call a kimbap, or in this case, a buck bop. So we're gonna cut this and we're gonna put it on a nice plate. I've done this a long time in my career. I've done sushi a lot, but typically you can start from the middle and then go out. But I'm feeling pretty confident in myself, so I'm just gonna go from the edge, let the knife do the work, right? And then we're gonna use our towel, kind of keep the blade clean, lubricate if needed. It helps keep the cut nice and clean. And we're gonna make a couple of these so we can enjoy them. These are great with wine. You can have them with all sorts of different things. Because it's game, it's kind of crossover, so you could do a light red, you could do a full-bodied white, but it's gonna be delicious and we're gonna enjoy it, and you can enjoy it at home as well.
Let's go.
All right, we're back now and we're gonna start our stir fries. We're gonna first start with the crane. And so we're gonna heat our pan again. And when you stir fry, things need to be at a hot temperature to stir fry well. So for our stir fry, we're first gonna start by searing off the meats. And then after we're done searing off the meats, we'll do all the vegetables. So again, we bring our pan to a nice high heat before we add our fat or our oil. And we're gonna add some vegetable oil, again, a neutral fat. And so we're gonna add a little here. How cool is this? We got some really nicely marinated crane here. Again, this was in our teriyaki marinade. And you can smell it, and it's aromatic, and it has that great soy smell and sweetness, and I think it's really gonna be becoming of this bird. So our oil heats. Again, we don't want to crowd our pan or else we're not going to get that nice sear we want on this stuff. So here we go. We're going to start adding it. You don't want a ton of the sauce to get in the pan or else that can kind of burn and make things a little difficult. So, try to get some of the marinade off before you throw it in the pan here. Again, go away from you so you're not splashing yourself with it. I think we can probably get all this in here and be okay. I think won't crowd it too much. You got a nice single layer going here, so I think we'll be all right. All right, we're gonna let that cook for a moment. And you can tell we're on a nice high heat. We're getting a nice sizzle in the pan. Just making sure all of this is as flat as it can be so it cooks nice and evenly. Don't want to overcook it, right? And we're gonna put it back into the stir fry later. So it can be just slightly under, but we don't want to overcook this at all. So you really want to pay attention to this while you're going at it. Don't walk away for too long. Don't start too many other projects, and let this cook and do the work. So we got some color on this. Can definitely smell the caramelization. I'm gonna start flipping all this over. Remember, pretty high heat for this. You want high heat. Stir frying is a high temperature item. If you had a wok pan or something like that at home, it could be a good time to pull that pan out and use it. So we flipped it all over. We're gonna give it a time to continue cooking, get that other side really nicely. I'm gonna transfer this to a plate so I can cook the other vegetables and everything in here too. Give it one more minute. It's important when you're stir frying or you're doing anything at the stove that you have all the stuff you need right there at your disposal. All right, so we're gonna take this off. It looks about ready. Looks great. We're gonna take it off. Turn off our heat so we don't burn any of it while we're removing the crane here. All right, here we go. So we've cooked now the crane. We set that aside. It looks really delicious. And now we're gonna start our vegetables. So again, we're gonna turn our pan to high heat and get our pan hot. We're gonna add our fat. And we're gonna start with our garlic. We're gonna start with our ginger. We're gonna start with the things that take longer to cook. We're gonna cook the onions. We're gonna throw the broccoli in pretty immediately, just because those things take more time to cook. And then the quick things, like the spinach, the green onions, the carrots, those will go more towards the end. So we're gonna add a fair amount of oil because we're gonna be putting a good amount of veggies. You don't want a pool of oil, obviously. But again, enough to cover the base of the pan. So we're gonna start with some onion. You wanna make sure you move them around so they cook evenly because you're cooking at a high heat. So we're just gonna help it. You can tell the broccoli is starting to cook because of the bright green color. We're gonna add our bell peppers. Got a little red julienne bell pepper. We have a little orange. Not a ton of difference in flavor. They're a little more sweet as they become more red, but it adds a great amount of color to the dish. We got some great fresh vegetables that we're stir frying. We're getting these cooked. We're not letting them sit where they get soppy and wet. They're staying nice and fresh and nice and intact. So we're gonna add some carrots. Get those going. Now, when you add your soy sauce or whatever your liquids are to the stir fry, there's a lot of different options you can use. I think for this preparation, we're gonna just go a little simpler and lighter and kind of just let the poultry, the game sing. You know, you don't want to mask it with too much like oyster sauce or dark mushroom soy sauce, which is really common in stir fries and lo mein. But we want to really allow the ingredients to sing and really show off all those wonderful stories and why it's so much fun to harvest and get this on the table. So we're just gonna add a little soy sauce. And it's really there just for a little seasoning. You know, you don't need much. We're gonna add a little black pepper. The soy sauce has salt, so it's probably about enough salt for the whole dish. We'll probably just add a little salt just for the vegetables. A little salt here. Again, not too much. And we got great color on our vegetables. We have great caramelization. Everything still looks fresh. It's vibrant. It has texture, and that's really important when you're making a great stir fry. All right, now we're gonna add the spinach in because this cooks quickly. So we're gonna add a fair amount of spinach. Nice handful of green onions. I love green onions. We'll add a little more. And as the spinach starts wilting, I'm gonna try to time it so it all finishes together. We are now gonna add our crane back in. Boop. And then just add a little brightness to the dish. We're gonna add a little of our chopped lemongrass. Look at all those beautiful colors. The smells are awesome. This is a fairly quick preparation too, if you kind of have the vegetables prepared ahead of time. Turn off our heat, and we have a great stir fry. We're gonna go plate this up in a moment. We're gonna serve it with some rice. All right, so we have our beautiful crane stir fry here, and we're gonna plate this bad boy up. And look at those colors, the fresh vegetables. We didn't overdo it with sauce. You know, that nice marinade on that crane already kind of created a pan sauce when we added that back in. And we're gonna just take our rice here. And it's good to kind of fluff it. It gets the steam out. Just be careful. It is a little hot sometimes, but this also gives your rice the texture back it needs so it's not sticking to itself. And see how nice this long grain jasmine rice is. Much different from the sushi rice we used earlier for the kimbap or the bok bop. Like I said earlier, this is a much longer grain rice. So it's gonna have great texture. Kind of texture you want with the stir fry. So we'll put that back, put this on, it keeps it warm. You can enjoy it later. But this is our crane stir fry with fresh vegetables and jasmine rice. All right, we are going to make our really delicious axis deer skewers. So you can do this on a griddle, you can do this on a grill. Where we're at right now, it's like 2 degrees outside. So we are going to do this inside where we have the luxury of heat and no snow on our face. It makes filming a little easier. So, but we are going to do these wonderful axis deer skewers. Once again, we marinated them in a Korean barbecue marinade. We are heating up our pan. These are a really fun thing to do. They're very simple. They're a great party pleaser. They're things you can make ahead, so it's really delicious. And we're gonna grab the pepper here, and we're just gonna hit them with a little pepper. It doesn't need much salt because of the seasoning in the soy sauce. So I just like it in with a little pepper. As our pan heats, we're gonna add our fat. I think we talked about this video, so just add your fat now. Again, just barely enough to cover the bottom. And now we're gonna let that heat up before we add our skewers. Just give it a moment. We got our nice skewers. Look at that. You can see the marinade has permeated the meat. It's kind of added a candied look to the meat. Very similar to how you prepare jerky. So, and that's the sound of success. These are gonna be quick. So again, you want a nice hot pan so you can go quick on each side. You can get really creative with different dipping sauces. You can make all sorts of things. I think with this one, you know, we've made a lot of different meals tonight, so we're gonna let this stand on its own and be really delicious that way. But we're gonna get color on each side, flip them, and we're gonna enjoy them. So. And look to the edges for the doneness. You can see that it's probably cooked about 30 to 40% on the side, but we're gonna give it probably another 40 seconds before we flip these. And like we shared also, you know, you get your friends or family, the kids to help put these together. Everyone did a really nice job doing these. They lay nice and flat. So we'll probably keep them around for another video or two. So you're gonna flip these now and see we got some nice color on them. And we flip them. We're gonna get the color on this side now. Got a nice color, we didn't burn it, but we got a nice color where that sugar and the marinade is really gonna bring out the excess deer. You see those are looking really nice. I think we just need a touch longer and then they're coming off. So like this is nice and easy. Do it in a large nonstick saute pan. If you don't have a griddle or if it isn't warm enough or it's the season to do grilling outside. So those look delicious. We're gonna just set them off to the side here. Well, we made a great crane stir fry. We made a great access deer buck bop. We've made some wonderful Korean barbecue access deer skewers. And we're gonna wrap up with one more stir fry this time. We're gonna do it with the access deer. It's gonna be very similar to our first one. We're gonna use all the same ingredients. So if you need another round of practice, this is a great part of the video to watch over and over again. So again, we're gonna heat up our pan. Remember, you wanna start with your meats, especially if you have a lean meat, gamey meat. They cook quickly, as we've seen. They're the best enjoyed when they're cooked properly. So focus on those things one thing at a time when you're doing a stir fry. So heating up the pan. We're gonna get our fat again, our vegetable oil, and we're just gonna do enough to cover the bottom there. Kind of just spread that around. Look how wonderful that marinated meat looks. Just like the crane, it has that candied thickness. You can tell the marinade's permeated it. We're gonna add some pepper. Like we talked about, we get a lot of the natural salt from the soy sauce, but the pepper really helps sets it off. Brings out some of those flavors. All right, we're gonna take these pieces and start putting them in. Again, we don't want to put a ton of the sauce so it kind of covers the pan, makes it steam and sticky. So try to take off a little if you can. It's looking pretty great. We're going to add it back in the stir fry. We're just going to transfer it to the plate for now. It's nice too to turn off your heat when you're about to take the food out of the pan. You don't have to worry about things spitting at you or all the hot oil and things burning. All right, so we took our meat out. We're gonna give this a quick rinse and then we're gonna do the vegetables. We'll be right back with this. All right, we've gotten our pan pre-prepared for the vegetables. We're gonna start cooking our vegetables and we'll get this stir fry done and it's gonna be delicious. And again, this one is with the access deer. So we'll go through the vegetables one more time just so everyone sees what we're putting in here. We have some onions. I like cutting them like this because they have a little more size so they don't cook as fast. So you can kind of time it out with your stir fry. We got the broccoli, some julienne carrots. We have some bell peppers, both orange and red. We have some spinach and green onions. And for aromatics, we have ginger, garlic, and even some lemongrass for some brightness. So that will be delicious. Our pan's nice and hot. We're gonna add our fat, our oil. Again, you need enough to cook the vegetables, but you don't want them swimming in it. So I'm gonna cover the bottom of the pan. Well, we have a beautiful stir fry here of active deer or access deer, and we are going to plate it up and enjoy it. So follow me over as we do that. So here's that stir fry, and we're going to plate it up. You can hear that sizzle. And there you have it. We have our access deer stir fry. Fresh, delicious, nice vibrant vegetables. Something that you and your family can enjoy. And thank you for enjoying our little stir fry class tonight. The game, the story is the best part. And hope this makes more memories for you. Well, it was great cooking here tonight. You know, Roman Harvest, they've been great hosts. It's been nothing but a fun time to be able to cook great meats from the outdoors that I know you and your family are hunting at home. I hope that you had a great time learning from us tonight. Thank you for allowing us into your homes. And I hope we taught you something that you can share with the people you love.
Yeah, Chris. First of all, thank you. So we just met Chris, and he's a big time chef. He cooks for a lot of people that are way more important than we are, and we learned things tonight that I would never have imagined to do with our game meat. I mean, it's transformed the way that I think about what I can cook and how I can show that and share that with my family. So first of all, thank you so much.
Thank you for
really
having
appreciate
me.
it.
No, thank you so much.
We appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much for having
it
me.
was a fun time. This is, man, I'm so full, but I want to keep eating.
We're going to keep eating.
We're gonna keep eating. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want to join us on more adventures, subscribe to Roman Harvest. Thank you, everybody. Folks, see ya.